And that's a really good theme song.
Yeah. It's not bad.
Yeah, I mean, like the guys that wrote and recorded the song are pretty great.
Yeah, I
I
heard
know them personally.
that. Oh yeah. How'd you meet those guys?
I'm one of them. I
Oh,
guess we should introduce the show.
we should. This is horribly off topic with Chris and Steve.
Yay!
Yay.
Welcome back to the show, everybody that's listened 5 episodes in.
Yeah,
Or if you're like going through and like power listening to a
Right.
bunch while you work out at the gym or while you're sitting at the office, thank you.
Do you get more podcasts or stuff listened to when you're at the office or when you're at the gym? Like,
Mostly more at the gym because when I'm at the office, it's slightly distracting when I'm trying
Yeah.
to work on so like I'll shut stuff off if I'm like really into working on something.
yeah, I have to do the same thing when it comes to either podcasts or music. I definitely can't do anything seriously mentally heavy lifting while listening to podcasts because then my attention is totally split. But even sometimes with music, which I usually, if I'm writing, I'll put on instrumental music. But if I get to a certain point, I just need to stop it and have quiet. I get many more podcasts listening to when I'm driving.
Really?
Yeah.
Sorry.
And that's why, like in the summertime, if I have like 10 podcasts on my like that I'm subscribed to, in the summertime they all build up because I'm not driving anymore. Yeah, I'm used to driving like 2-3 hours round trip a day, and I get like this 3 podcasts, and then summertime comes and
I had a giant clog of them earlier in the year, but after the Anthony Cumia firing from SiriusXM, I was just like, enough of this. I've been wanting to cancel this for years. I'll just listen to the podcast that they put out every week.
Right.
Or well, Opie and Jim at this point.
Opie and Jim. See, I was wondering about that because I that's how out of it I am. I hadn't heard that he. So did the other 2 fire him or just
No.
Sirius
It
fired
was
him?
Sirius fired him.
Okay.
They did not agree with the firing.
Yeah.
I don't really want to get into.
Yeah. Anyway,
I got rid of my satellite radio, which I only had on my the app anyways. I only had the internet version, so I could listen at home on my computer or on the app, and I was just like, enough of this crap.
Yeah, there are certain points I've found that stop you. Like what the heck is that thing that happens when all the species are about to go extinct, but they don't quite go extinct. It's like a funnel. All the human beings go into a funnel because of the ice age or something, and only a certain amount of them come out. I'm not describing this very well.
You lost me. I forgot what we were talking about.
Yeah, no, I don't know what we were talking about.
But yeah, I had a lot of them built up.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You have moments where you just stop listening to stuff. I used to subscribe to a ton of Kevin Smith ones, and I forget what it was that finally I was just like, you know what?
Too many of him talking about fucking a flashlight.
Yeah, fucking a flashlight and smoking a lot of weed while fucking the flashlight.
He smokes while he fucks his thing?
I don't know. I mean, that's the impression that I got. He did nothing but smoke weed and fuck his flashlight. But
flashlight, whatever.
Yeah, well, I mean, same difference, right?
I need to buy batteries.
Well, I mean, it wouldn't be the same difference if you put batteries in the flash. There's a little bit more resistance when you...
No, but I'm just saying, just a reminder, and it's like the worst time. Hey, we're having a conversation. I need to buy batteries.
You need to buy batteries. Yes.
Maybe years down the road, somebody's going to be listening to this, and they're going to be like, I wonder if Steve actually bought batteries.
Well, you just told me beforehand that, in terms of you listening back to our show, you've listened to the first 3, so if you listen to this one, a couple weeks from now, will it be the reminder that, oh shit, I was supposed to get batteries?
I'm gonna hopefully go shopping. I'm thinking about going to Market Basket, but I don't know if it's gonna be just a mob scene, so I might just go to Target.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. It's well, I mean, batteries you should be able to get it.
Anywhere. You can buy batteries anywhere. I just need them for my Wii Fit board.
Yes, very important. So Wii Fit, I started using my Wii Fit again. Because my upstairs scale last week was fucking with me, and at one point it would tell me what I actually weighed, and another point it would tell me I weighed about 5 pounds less. Another time it would tell me I weighed about 5 pounds more. So last week,
were you carrying a small
I was not,
animal or
I was
something?
not carrying a small animal, nor one of my small animals that I call children.
Yeah, but I think they weigh more than 5 pounds.
They do weigh more than 5 pounds now. So anyway, so
I think they probably always weighed more than 5 pounds.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. I don't pay attention to that shit. So the scale last week was starting to flake on me. So I finally put some batteries back into all the Wii stuff and turned on the Wii last week, weighed myself there, got an accurate reading. And then this week, I was going to do the same thing. I was going to see what I weighed on the upstairs scale, see what I weighed on the Wii. Well, I started off on the upstairs scale, and it told me that I had lost 30 pounds
Wow.
since last week. So, I think that scale's pretty
Chris
much...
is on the cocaine diet.
Yeah, no shit.
What did you have for breakfast? Cocaine?
Yeah. The lunch, a little bit of crack, and for dinner, I'm thinking about some pop brownies. I'm going to splurge a little bit.
No, that would be totally counterproductive.
Would it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't do drugs.
I'm not one to do them myself, but I am aware that coke and crack would help you lose weight, but pot
would not. I guess it does make sense. The munchies, and I'm aware of that at least.
And if you were making brownies, you're basically like you're making chocolate treats with.
But if all I'd had all day was cocaine.
You need to come down a little bit.
Come down just a little bit.
We'll get some heroin then.
Oh, there you go. Okay, yeah.
Then you won't want to eat, and so yeah, it'll be perfect.
Perfect. All right, so now I know how to actually lose that 30 pounds.
Better living through chemistry.
So I had the Wii board today, and I lost like 2.4. I think I lost 2.4. So
fuck, I've been like busting my ass at the gym, and I only lost 2. So fuck you.
I run twice a day. That's my workout. And
twice a day
for half an hour, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm usually at the gym for an hour and a half, and I walk during my lunch, and I sometimes do the strength training on the Wii Fit.
Yeah, I fully expect I might bounce right back, because that's how it's been since I started. Since after I had the shingles, I've like lost. And then I gained it right back, and then lost and gained it right back.
Like somebody put the hot mops on the roof, and they were putting the...
Yeah. It was. That's exactly what it was like.
I was talking about shingles, like the actual ones on your roof.
Yeah. And not the shingles that I had on my back and my
face,
stomach.
chest, neck, and head.
No. I only had them in like one specific area on my back and stomach, but they killed. They were terrible. Did you
put like a lotion on them? Did it help?
No, I did not. I did not put a lotion on them until towards the end.
A little bit of a cream.
A little bit of a cream. Yeah. I won't say where I got the cream, but
the store, the doctor.
Exactly. Yes.
Oh, okay.
No. I what did I have for? I had used
from your not lady doctor.
From my not lady doctor.
I also don't have a lady doctor. So.
It was the lady doctor who prescribed stuff, because it was the lady doctor that I saw when I had the shingles.
Because like the primary care.
The primary care doctor was I don't know where he was.
Yeah, he's like grandfather.
He was off criticizing the weight of other people.
Yeah, he's like
he was off talking to anorexics and telling them that they needed to lose some weight.
Oh, come on. I don't think he was doing that.
No, he wasn't.
He's probably going to hear the podcast. He's like, fuck him. I'm going to tell him he's big old fatto.
Yeah, he's a nice enough guy. He just should not talk to me.
Well, sometimes, you are in a position where you're not necessarily as good at talking to people.
Yes.
As, maybe someone who is better at that. I don't know.
Yeah.
They do give doctors I think they give them like classes, or they encourage them to
bedside
take,
manner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just talking to people. Like that's what people like. Us. I was a comm major, so I majored in talking.
Yeah. I don't know what I majored in.
You forgot what you majored in?
Well,
I thought it was English.
I had my official major was individual studies, which means that as I was going along, I kind of made up what I was majoring in, and then I ran it by the college, and they bought my line of bullshit that everything I'd taken
But you have a
apply.
master's degree too.
Well, yes, my master's degree is in creative writing. But,
There you go.
You know,
that's something.
yeah. Oh, I think
Independent studies.
individual studies. Yes. Well, basically, you could go to the college and you could say, I want to be an individual studies major, and here's my major, and I called my major narrative arts, which basically meant storytelling through anything. So,
Well, yeah, you in a way majored in expressing yourself.
Yeah, but what it enabled me to do was there were 2 senior seminars I had to choose from, and when I was a junior, I spoke to my friends who took one and took the other, found out which one sounded the easiest, and I made that my senior.
Look at you bullshit artist.
That's what I'm saying. And I made the drawing classes that I took my freshman year when I wasn't sure what I wanted to do count, and somehow I think I made all these random things that count towards the major, so that by the time I was a senior, I didn't have to do shit except my senior project and my senior seminar.
My senior year was pretty. Actually, it was my super senior year. I had like just the one semester left.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I took a couple of classes.
It wasn't just really super.
No, it was just that I had screwed up one semester and I dropped a couple classes, so I needed to make those up. And to be full time, I needed to take 3 courses, which I did, but I only needed 2 more.
2, yeah. Okay.
So yeah, because like Framingham was weird with their credit structure. It was 4 credits per course.
Okay.
And
That
so
is
you
weird.
could take 3, and that would be a full boat.
Okay. Huh.
And like most other places, it was 5.
Yeah, most other places are 3 credits.
4 or 5, I think you needed to take to be a full-time student. But yeah, Framingham, you only needed 3. So I took acting and directing, which was the first time they had taught the course. So they basically gave everybody an A.
Yeah, they were not sure.
unless you were really shitty, and none of us were. I think everybody that took the class like did the work and was good. And our actually, I wish I don't have the final production that I did, but I learned. I thought I was going to be a better director than I would be an actor, but it was the opposite. I was better acting than I was at directing. And it was cool to realize that, because I'm like, I'm going to look behind the camera, tell everybody what to do, and I'm like, I'm really bad at that.
Yeah, I'm not so great at that at times myself either. So.
And so, yeah, I was, the last production, like, the director knew the way I was and how I was terrible at remembering lines and whatnot. So he was just like, okay, this is you. You are this character. This is your motivation, all this stuff. Go. And I did, and it came out great.
Yeah. Well, it's good when they can sort of work with you. I took a...
I gotta remember. Oh yeah, wait before you go off on a tangent here.
How do you know that what I was?
You were going to go on a tangent. I saw that look in your eye. So yeah, there was one line that I had in the production that I had to remember, and I remember it now.
Did you remember it then?
No, and we were shooting in a car.
Okay.
And so it was very tight quarters. Like I was in the back seat, and there was the two other actors were in the front seat. And so there was a person shooting. They were sitting on the floor in front of the other. This was a small car too.
Yeah.
Sitting on the floor, shooting me from the front seat. And then there was someone shooting from me from the side,
sitting
from the back, sitting next to me.
Yeah.
Actually, maybe on either side. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
It was very. He did a great job of like setting everything up.
Yeah.
And so yeah, we got like the initial part. We did. It was basically me doing my improv lines from a certain point to another point.
Yeah.
And he's like, he had me do it twice, and they ended up being pretty similar, so he could cut in between the two of them.
Yeah.
And like a Judd Apatow movie.
Oh.
But like then there was this one line at the very end that I had to say. We had to start it at a certain point, end it at a certain point, and then they took me out of the car and killed me. Because that's what happened in almost every production I was in college, is that I died. So I'm like, great.
That's sad.
So the line was, I'll tell you what's really important, a human's ability for compassion and emotion.
And then they kill you.
Yes.
But you forgot the line.
I've kept on forgetting the line. I kept on screwing it up slightly. And we were running out of daylight, and we're all cramped in this car, and they're like, dude, you need to get this right. And so one of my fuck ups, which they did an outtake thing at the end of the credits and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I go, I'll tell you what's really important. And there was like a couple of beats.
Yeah.
Computers.
Okay.
And then that, I don't know why, of all things, that's the thing I said. But it just ruined the next two takes because we couldn't, like, someone in the class or someone in the car would just start laughing, just being like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
You know, it's really important.
Computers. So yeah, what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say it wasn't that much of a tangent. It was about an acting class.
All right, let's do it.
So I
just wanted to finish my story first.
All right. I do have a tendency to cut you off. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
The Shakespeare acting class I was in, probably junior year. I was in the class with the most talented, because it was one they only offered every couple of years, and I was in the class with the most talented actors in the place, and I eventually got good at acting, but not really until long after college. I was okay in college, surrounded by the best actors in the school, and when it came time to do our final production, which was a condensed version of
Milk.
No,
that was a joke. I keep on looking over here like there's an audience. Like this over here is where I imagine the listening audience is sitting. And I'm just trying to mug for more laughs to nobody.
When we do our first live show, whenever that is, we'll have to arrange ourselves like this so that you'll
I'll look over there and it'll be like, that's the joke, guys. Condensed milk.
Condensed milk. No, it was condensed version of The Tempest.
Oh, okay.
And the lead character.
That's less funny.
Yeah, no, it's not funny at all. Except that all the most talented actors in the school decided to make me the lead, Prospero, with the most lines. And
they wanted to test you. They wanted you to.
No, they were just lazy. It was spring semester of senior year for many of them, and they were just like, I don't want to do more shit. Let the junior do it. Yeah, it was.
So did you do well?
No.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I made it through it, but it was.
Well, it would have been terrible if it was me, because there would be lines that I would have had to remember.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have done any of it because I'll be like, "There, computers," and they'll be like, "This guy's the worst."
Yeah. Well, you know what's even worse is when you've written the script and you forget the lines. As I have a T-shirt upstairs that the cast of Temptress gave to me, Temptress, which I wrote and then was in, that says hashtag I wrote it. I know you saw it.
Yeah, I was there. Was it opening or the closing?
I can't remember.
It was closing.
It was closing. Yeah, because you might have. Were you there for the cast party?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, during that process, both was in very awkward situations, which is why they said you wrote it, and then at other times would forget lines, which felt bad because I wrote them.
That's all right. I every once in a while I'll listen to I think I mentioned my buddy Steve sent me a bunch of the old episodes of the Simulated Itch Relief podcast.
Yeah.
And I listened to episode 2.
Yeah.
And I was like,
no, you didn't mention it. So he had them.
Well, yeah, he had probably about not all of them. There's a couple that are still missing, but. Right. And it's the first time I've ever listened to them because, which is a good compliment to our show that I've listened to 3 of the episodes already.
I wasn't trying to rag on you.
I know, but no, it's not. It wasn't it's just that I have trouble listening to stuff that I do. Yeah. So I was listening to it, and I'm like, holy crap! And I'm like, I don't remember saying half the things that I said. And these are words that are coming out of my mouth, and I'm like, I'm not gonna. Well, maybe I'll remember the battery thing, because that's what's important.
We hope you will remember the battery thing.
Well, I'm talking about it enough, so I do remember it after I leave here. Yeah. But yeah, I was listening, and I don't remember any of this, and I said it. It's understandable that you can write something and then not remember it.
Totally different activities. Yeah, so how did we get into acting? How did we get into? I can't remember now.
We were just talking about like, oh yeah, my last semester of college. I had that class. I took what was the other two? Oh, I think it was studio production 2, whatever. Yeah. We just had to do some stuff in the studio, and it was all right. And then I took music appreciation because I had one more elective than I needed. It could have been anything because I already fulfilled all the gen eds, I think they were called at the time. I don't know if they still do it. And yeah, I just needed one more anything, and I'm like, I'll save this for the last semester. Music appreciation with Ed Maligian. That dude was the bomb.
Music appreciation sounds to me. It doesn't sound like a real class. It's the class that Mr. Holland teaches at Mr. Holland's Opus. And every time I hear that part of that movie, have you ever seen that movie?
No.
It was in the 90s, and it was Richard Dreyfuss played Mr. Holland. And anyway, so he teaches music appreciation in addition to teaching band and all the other things. And it's just like, what? I never took music appreciation in high school, did I? I mean, we took music classes up.
It was just basically a high school music class.
Yeah.
Just as in depth. But like, yeah, he would just play music for us and be like, this is who this is, and this is, and the exams were the easiest I've ever taken in my entire life. Yeah, so one of the exams, the exams were on Thursday or Friday. I forget which day, but I sometimes go out and get some drinks.
Yeah.
The night before, or the evening before, and I showed up.
As you do.
Yeah.
And it's college.
I showed up and I was so goddamn hungover. And
you failed music appreciation?
No. I was just showed up and I'm like, oh crap, it was the test day. So I showed up and I took the test and I'm like, I bombed that, whatever. I get it back the next like Monday or Tuesday, whenever the class. I think it was a Tuesday, Thursday class. So yeah, it was probably Tuesday. So I get in there, he hands it back to me, and I got 105. I got the bonus question right. I don't remember taking the exam.
So do you kind of wish you'd realized that about yourself earlier in your college career, that you should just get drunk before all of your exams?
No, it was just lucky that it was so easy. I remember one of the questions on the final, and I think he just wrote a bunch of nonsense questions just so he could make it like an even number, so it would be easier to grade.
Yeah.
I've
never done that.
Oh, you haven't really? It was like a bunch of multiple choice questions, and one of them was, which of these is not trombone? A, trombone. B, trombone. C, pepperoni. D, trombone. So yeah, it's like,
okay.
That was a very, very easy class, and there was people that were doing poorly, and it didn't make sense to me. And I'm like, I aced an exam hungover. How can you fucking be doing poorly in this class? Maybe college isn't for you.
I'm just trying to think of the pepperoni trombone. Like, are they they're sitting there and going, yeah, you could use that. This is a trick question.
Well, a big pepperoni, like the whole damn thing.
The whole thing, yeah.
Just put a little metal bar on the side of it and fillet it,
I have to start teaching. Speaking of college, I have to start teaching on Wednesday.
What classes do you have this year?
I'm teaching a basically like intro to short story writing. I'm teaching the class where we make the college literary magazine. And I am also teaching one section of freshman English.
Oh.
Yay.
See, I don't think you, like, if I was to be attending your college and you had me as a student, I don't think we'd get along. Because I'm one of the kind of person that would just I just needle you.
Yeah.
I just bug the shit out of you. Because I've done that to professors before, and it I don't know. Maybe it might endear me to you.
It depends. Honestly,
because that's what happened to most of the professors that I had in college. That like me in my nonsense endeared me to them, and then they sort of just really warmed up to me after a while. So much so that I think I've gone out for drinks with almost every single one of them.
I like now. See, when you went to college a little bit later.
Yeah.
Right? You finished college a little bit later.
Well, yeah, it started and finished basically. Yeah.
I actually really love it when I get a quote unquote non-traditional or adult learner student.
Well, I was 4 years.
Right, but even that 4 years sometimes. So where it's kind of like you don't really, the student really doesn't fit into that profile, but they also don't fit into the profile of the 18 to 21 year olds.
Yeah.
It's just awesome because the people who are, and it's not to say that there aren't 18 to 21 year olds who know what they're doing and know what they want to do, but if you've taken some time off, you generally come back with more of a sense of purpose, even if you are coming in hungover once in a while, or even if you are of any different kind of attitude. I just like those people are more driven, I think, and I dig them, because most of my classes now are upperclassmen, so I actually end up sometimes having a hard time adjusting to the 18-year-olds.
The fresh out of the
fresh out of high school.
Fresh off the boat.
Yeah. So some of my favorite students, when I finally see them in my upper level creative writing classes, are students who I wasn't so sure about when they were freshmen in my English comp classes or whatever. I wasn't sure how that was going to work out, but they're my favorite people in the world now.
Aww.
So, yeah.
What about me? Damn it.
Well, I think we would get along. I think we'd be all right.
Okay. I changed my mind halfway through the statement.
Yeah.
I was just like, yeah, maybe I was wrong.
I've had students about that age who, I wouldn't say needle, but they ask a lot of questions and they are very particular.
It wasn't necessarily that I was asking questions or being particular. I was just spewing nonsense constantly, and I was making fun of them actively. Like there was a professor that he came from outside of Philly, and the way he said drawing, he said drawing, and oh my god, did I give him no end of shit for that?
Drawing.
Why are you saying it that way? What's wrong with you? Does your ear not work? And I'm like, for anybody that's deaf, oh wait, they can't.
For anybody who's deaf and listening to our podcast,
someone's signing it to them. I don't know. I felt like I offended people that could be listening, but I'm like, they can't listen.
They can't hear you.
Oh God damn
it. I think a lot of people for them going back to school, if you're the teacher, if you're the administrator, whatever, the worst part are the meetings leading up to, because you gotta sit there and you gotta talk with a whole bunch of people, and you kind of already know what you're gonna do, and I don't mind the meetings so much. I don't see most of these people most of the time. It's actually one of the loneliest parts about being an adjunct at a school is that I don't have an office, so I don't bump into other grown-ups in my position. I might have a grown-up in my class, but that's my student. So most of the time I don't have any collegial relationships with anybody. So I don't mind going to the meetings. This time around, we had a meeting this week preparing for the upcoming semester. A good meeting, but the main topic of discussion was trigger warnings. Are you familiar with what a trigger warning is?
No, we did talk about it briefly before, yeah. and I was like, trigger warnings?
Trigger warnings.
So yeah, no.
Yeah, so I mean, and I said the same thing to Stephanie, to my wife. I said, you know what trigger warnings are? And she didn't really know.
So just for mental health things? Or
well, that's what I think where it kind of... It depends on what angle you're coming at it from, right? So a trigger warning might be, you say to somebody, and I don't know why somebody reading Huck Finn wouldn't know this in advance.
Yeah.
But that Huck Finn has the N word in it.
Yes, a lot.
A lot.
And there was the controversy a couple maybe years ago, maybe it might have been 10 years ago, where people were upset that they were taking the word out of the book.
Yeah, there was an edition that was published where they replaced every instance of the N-word with slave. Which is, I mean, it's not the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, being a slave was bad.
It was bad, but it's not the same. It's not the same.
Yeah, it takes away the severity of what they're calling it.
Right. Another play that, or another work that we talked about in the meeting that might need a trigger warning for some is the play The Merchant of Venice by Shakespeare, in which Shylock, who's a Jew, there's a lot of perceived anti-Semitism in the play. And so you might need to give a trigger warning for that. But now there are people saying you might want to give a trigger warning for the fact that there's any kind of sex, or specifically if there's any rape, or if there's extreme violence. You might need to put in trigger warnings for a war novel in case you've got any Iraqi or Afghan war vets coming into your class. Like all these things that you need to warn them that they might feel something. It's
isn't that what literature is about?
Literature is about, and so I mean I think we came down firmly on the side of that trigger warnings are not a good idea. That at most, one of the other professors had a great disclaimer that I think she's going to send around via email that we may all use, and that's about as far as it goes. Like
instead of like saying specifically,
we are going to read things that may elicit an emotional response from you,
whether it be negative or positive.
Yeah, and if you think that is going to be too much, then maybe you should search for another section.
Yeah, go into accounting. Because there's nothing. If numbers are your trigger warning, then you're in fucking trouble because they're fucking everywhere.
Yes, they are today. Absolutely. I can't sympathize with. I had most profound reading experience I had in high school was one of the only books I actually read senior year was
the Hustler Forum.
Well, that was extra credit. In senior year, the only thing I actually read was
the extra credit a pool of semen in your belly?
I never did it on my belly. There was a pillow for that.
What?
So
hold on. You just on a pillow?
The only thing that I read that I was supposed to read was the Johnny Got His Gun by Dalton Trumbo, which is an anti-war novel.
I thought you said Dalton Trombone. Came back to pepperoni.
Came back to the pepperoni.
All right, sorry, go.
So Dalton Trumbo, and it fucked me up. It was if you've ever seen the music video for Metallica's One.
I can't remember it off.
Anyway, that music video uses mostly footage from a film version of Johnny Got His Gun, which is about this guy who's a quadruple amputee. He's also blind, deaf, and dumb at this point, and not aware at the beginning of the book that he's even alive. He's having dreams of his previous life, and he only gradually comes to realize what's happened to him. And he tries to communicate with the doctors to tell him, like, look, I'm done, please let me go. The moment that they realize he's conscious in there, they say, nope, we're not going to take him off life support. We're going to keep him alive and basically use him as an experiment, as a guinea pig. A horrifying book, but it's the one, it was probably the thinnest. And so I was like, all right, I might as well read this one.
Oh, jeez.
And
look what you did to yourself.
And it messes me up. So later on, after college, I'd been a while since I'd written anything, but I still wanted to be a writer, so I was getting back. I went to the Borders or Barnes at Borders down the street.
Rest in peace, my friend. Bookstore.
Around the corner from where my office was in Boston, and I picked up that book again, remembering that it kind of had an effect on me, but having no idea how bad an effect on me it had. And it blew my mind. Would I want a trigger warning on that? Would I want someone to tell me, oh, if you are traumatized by death and by facing death and oblivion and all this stuff, maybe you shouldn't read this? No, I don't want somebody to tell me not to read it because of that. I want to find out things for myself. That's why I read things. That's why I watch things. it's disgusting to me, this notion that that, and I think there was at least some intimation in conversations that I've had that these things are spawned by the higher ups at colleges as opposed to the people on the ground teaching the students. It's the presidents and the financial people who don't want to get sued saying you need to put a trigger warning on there because somebody might read something that upsets them and then they might sue the college for making them read this thing that upsets them.
And that's a
we can't. It's like nobody wants to be upset. I'm sorry. There are things that are going to upset you in the world.
Yeah, it sucks. But the if you look at life, there's a lot of good things that are going to happen to you,
yeah.
And there's bad things that are going to happen to you.
Yeah.
And if put in perspective of one or the other, the good things can seem better.
Yes.
Because of shitty things.
Absolutely.
I guess I'm a fucking optimist now. Look at that. What a turnaround.
Yeah, it's so anyway, so thinking about trigger warnings, I'm glad you agree with me. It sounds like you agree.
I mean, I understand the other side.
I do too. I mean, I get it, but and maybe there's more of a case to be made for that kind of thing in the classes I teach to freshmen where they have to take them.
Yeah.
And less of a need to put that in there when you get to the upper level creative writing classes I take, because by that point these people know and are getting into the business of making people feel things. But I just think these people are kidding themselves if they think they're going to go through life without ever dealing with something that triggers an intense emotional reaction in them. I just all the time for me. I used to try to hide myself from my trigger, which is death and oblivion and the end. I used to try to hide myself from it, and then when I finally had to face it in something, it freaked me out even more. It completely made me not able to function. My panic attacks would be so bad, and now I don't avoid it. I go, yep, that freaks me the fuck out. I'm over it. Moving on.
Hooray! I'm raising my arms up.
And I go to see something funny to get me out of the doldrums.
Or do a fun podcast with your pal.
Fun podcast with my pal. Well, I see that was my ham-fisted transition. I was gonna say I do something funny because last night. That's a program for
Stop it.
for a show. The opening of the Players Ring in Portsmouth, their 23rd season. I went to see Darwin's Waiting Room, which is sketch comedy.
Let me take a peek at this.
Family-friendly sketch comedy.
Boo. I'm just kidding around. It just probably wouldn't be my cup of tea.
Well, you know what's funny? They say family-friendly, but it's family-friendly in that way that there aren't any swears that you would be afraid to have your kid hear. And there are things that the kids would appreciate. So there's some stuff that's on their level. But a lot of it is just fucking hilarious, just without any...
Sort of riding the line kind of stuff?
It didn't ride the line too much, but there's a one called Real Housewives of what is it called? Let me see the program here.
Oh, there was a list?
Yeah, right here. Real Housewives of Small Town New England. And that one, there's obviously innuendo that these women
Innuendo.
They might have been in someone's endo, but not my endo.
Oh, stop.
So there's innuendo that's there about basically there are these two women giving phone advice to women who are calling into their show, and there's the acknowledgement that sex exists. There's the acknowledgement that murder exists, but in a sort of more fun, playful, again, for lack of a better word, family-friendly, slapsticky kind of way. It was really, really funny. Just top to bottom, they had very funny actors with very good timing. That was the other part of it.
Well, that is important.
And I sat there going, I've always wanted to be able to be funny on stage or write a comedy or whatever. And the timing, I think, is the thing that I would have the hardest part with.
Well, if you want, I am sort of funny, and
you
did
will
write
give me some
jokes.
tips.
Well, I don't know. You can sit down and tell me what you got.
Yeah.
And I'll help you work on it. I don't know.
I like it. So yeah, no.
We got a further collaboration, folks. Maybe.
I mean, it did take you like how long to actually get me to do a podcast?
So. Well, it took me a while, but we're fucking 5 weeks in.
We're 5 weeks in. That is right. What's really cool, and I said this to some of the powers that be on the various committees that I saw last night who decide the season at the Ring, is the last 4 years. Every other year I've been in a show that opened the season, and so the odd years I've been in the show that opened the season, and the even years I've been in the audience to watch the show that opened the season. And both times I've been in the audience, it's been a funny show, and both times I've been in the show, it's been a pretty serious drama. And what I said to them last night is like, you got to just stick with funny shows to start the season. It's not that the serious shows aren't good. It's that the serious shows, like at the end of August when everyone is still, or the beginning of September when everyone is still kind of in summer mode and they kind of still like to laugh and they have a good time and they're not ready to think anything too serious yet. The two comedies I've seen in that slot have just been way better received, it seems, than the two dramas that I was a part of.
So you think you want to stick dramas in the wintertime?
I think so. People are already sad.
So you might as well make them worse.
Make them worse.
You got a seasonal affective disorder? Come see this depressing play.
Yes, absolutely. No, they are doing a somewhat serious musical. I don't know that much about it. It's a new one as the second show of the season. So I don't think you even have to push it back too far. I just think starting with a comedy, especially because over the last couple of years, where this theater is located, there's also a park right behind it where they do concerts and stuff. And over the last couple of years, the concerts have, which used to stop before this theater started its shows. Now they've got a big concert going out back there, and it's better to have everyone in the theater laughing at a comedy than to have someone sort of dying in someone's arms.
And then you hear that was some bass solo.
That was a great. That was exactly the bass solo I heard from backstage last year when somebody was dying in someone's arms.
Yeah, well, I think that's the sounds that would easily bleed through, or like the low tones.
Yeah. I've been in there when there were concerts going on, and that's all you get is the bass. And if it's a great bass line, awesome. Otherwise, you're kind of like, what is that?
It's like a Seinfeld. Yeah. I'm dying. I'm dying up here. Kramer. That's my Seinfeld.
That might be a good bit. I don't know. Anyway, so if you guys are hearing this, Darwin's Waiting Room plays.
If you're hearing this, again with the hearing jokes.
Equal opportunity. We had to both offend the deaf population.
No, if we're both. No, it wasn't that. That wasn't offensive to deaf. But if they're listening, yes, they're hearing it. It's impossible for them not to.
I think there was more to that sentence. If you're hearing this in the next couple of weeks, Darwin's Waiting Room plays from August 29th through September 14th at the Players Ring in Portsmouth. Tickets are like $15. Shows are at 8 on Fridays and Saturdays, 7 on Sundays, except for the last one, which is usually a matinee.
On a Sunday, right?
Sunday matinee.
But yeah, Portsmouth is a cool little town, and there's lots of nice little bars, so you can, go get some supper, and then go to the show, and then maybe have a couple of drinks afterwards.
I didn't have any drinks afterwards, but I did.
Well, you are a lightweight.
I am a lightweight, but I did go to Rose's and got some garlic knots, which are pretty good.
Where's Rose's?
Rose's is around the corner from the theater.
I thought they made fudge there. Didn't I make that joke before?
You might. So yeah, that's kind of what I monopolized a lot of the show here.
No, it's fine, and we had a
got, like, 15
discussion.
so that's kind of what I did. I went to a meeting and I went and saw a show, and that's my week. What did you get up to?
Well, I don't know. Besides working out, I forgot what I said.
You forgot.
Give me
There's the
that
card.
fucking thing. Oh yeah, well I played some Pokemon.
You played some Pokemon.
I was doing that this afternoon while I was doing my laundry. I was so many multitasking. I was doing laundry, watching an episode of the X-Files,
and playing Pokemon. Wow.
So yeah, I was going nutso, just doing stuff like at the same time.
You should put that on your resume. I'm just saying
that I can do 3 things at once. One of them is very passive in doing laundry, where the machine does it.
Sorry, go ahead.
So passive that I'm not doing anything for most of the time.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just was thinking that there's so many people that get upset at everything.
Trigger warning.
Yeah.
There are animals, little animals in Steve's video game that he made do things.
So yeah, like if anybody up until this point in 2014 is unfamiliar with the game of Pokemon. What you do, it's an RPG style, and that's role playing game. If anybody that's listening that doesn't know what fucking RPG is, what am I fucking doing? So yeah, it's an RPG where you run around and you have these pet friends that you store in tiny balls that you wear on your belt, and then you use them to
wear your balls on your belt.
Yes.
Okay.
It's like wearing your heart on your sleeve. It shows the ladies that you're ready to go. You're ready for action to have your balls out.
All right, sorry. So you wear your Pokemon balls on your belt.
Yes, and then you're like, and you run through the grass, and then there's the wild Pokemon arrives.
Yeah.
And then you fight it with your other Pokemon.
Gotcha.
And then you use, if you weaken it enough, you can throw a Pokeball at it and catch that one too.
So now he's yours.
Yes.
Oh.
And so basically,
you should have given me a trigger warning about it. See, I don't know that much about Pokemon, and that kind of offends me. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
so you're enslaving.
You're basically enslaving wild animals to basically do virtual dog fighting.
Look at Michael Vick over here.
I'm the worst person ever. I had my Pikachu and I was holding his head underwater.
What?
Isn't that what he did to the dogs? Isn't that why he went to jail?
That might have been what he did, but
I didn't actually do that to my Pikachu. My Pikachu likes me a lot.
Oh.
I give him Poke Puffs and I scratch him underneath his chin, which he likes a lot.
No, now I know Pikachu. What other Pokemon are there?
Well, one of the ones that I have in my party right now, I have a Greninja.
I want a Greninja.
So yeah, it's like a frog Pokemon, and it's kind of neat because he has, frogs have long tongues and like it starts off as a Froakie and eventually
becomes
it evolves.
Okay.
So religious people hate that because it talks about evolution existing in a lifetime too.
Oh my goodness, yeah, it's like
it's
like that asshole Darwin. They hate that dude.
Yeah. And so like he has the tongue comes out and he's wearing it like a scarf, which is weird.
He wears his tongue. Hey,
he's like a frog ninja.
Frog ninja has he's got to have it ready. Right, instead of curled up in his mouth, the tongue. Just
what else? What else do I have? I have a Bulbasaur. No, not Bulbasaur. Venusaur.
Okay.
The evolved form of a Bulbasaur.
Ah, nice.
And I have.
What does Pikachu start off as?
Well, Pikachu is the base, and then if you use a Thunderstone on it, it becomes a Raichu.
Ah, okay, gotcha.
I haven't done that. I want to keep it cute.
Keep it cute and yellow.
Yeah, well, it's still yellow when it evolves.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
It's more orangish yellow though as a Raichu.
I gotta admit, I've never played Pokemon, so
it's fun. It's a good little romp.
Yeah.
So yeah, and what else? I have a Charizard.
Mm-hmm.
That's one that people know.
Charizard.
Well, it starts off as a Charmander and evolves to
a
Charmeleon and then a Charizard, and it's like a dragon.
Okay, so it gets bigger and bigger.
Yeah. What else? But yeah, all my my little slaves that that I battle more.
That do your
But
bidding. And
there's so many more Pokemon now than there used to be.
there used to be.
It started off like the first game.
Yeah,
there was
you always had Pikachu, right?
no, you don't always have Pikachu.
Well, how do you have? I see Pokemon Pikachu
In the original Pokemon, you caught a Pikachu in the Viridian Forest. They were very rare encounters, and they sometimes ran away too. So it was a pain in the ass to catch one.
See, I would feel, I don't know. It's such a part of the iconography of the game now. Like if I didn't have a Pikachu.
Okay, so they had like the first ones that were released were Pokemon Red and Pokemon Blue. And so basically, you had the two games you and your friend would get. I think actually your brother and I traded Pokemon back in the day.
Nice.
I think I had Red and he had Blue.
Okay.
And
was this on like Game Boy or was it on
the original Game Boy?
The original Game Boy.
But it also they had re-releases for the Game Boy Color.
Right.
And so yeah, but then they came out with Pokemon Yellow, which we started with Pikachu instead.
Okay.
So
right.
you got your
all right. So I just know if I go back in time, I gotta start with Yellow. That's where I go.
Well, that didn't come out for like maybe a year after Pokemon Red and Blue. So if you wanted to get on the Pokemon train right off the bat,
right,
then you would have had to go and.
No, but I was never into anything right off the bat. I was the lamer who came in 3 years later.
Oh, okay.
I'm okay with being a.
But the one I'm playing now is Pokemon Y.
Pokemon
and
Y.
the other one is Pokemon X.
Pokemon-y? Is there?
There's a space.
There's a space. Okay, good. Because sometimes typography with these things is not so good.
There's Pokemon X and Pokemon Y, and there's probably next year going to be Pokemon Z. They always have like a third one that comes along.
Yeah.
And it's just slightly different, but it's the same sort of gameplay as the other two iterations. Because then there was like Silver and Gold after Red and Blue, and then they had Platinum, I think. Was it? I don't even know. Crystal, no, it was Silver, Gold, and Crystal.
If you were indicted on dog fighting, I mean
Pokemon fighting
charge, I mean what would be your closing argument as to why you should?
I'm not a lawyer. Why would I have the closing argument?
Oh, so you would hire somebody?
Obviously.
Okay. Well, I just
I may be a talker by trade, not, I guess. Here.
Yeah, but you're not.
But I'm not an attorney, and I don't know the law.
I just it's like what kind of defense would you hope to mount? Is people are accusing you of animal cruelty or Pokemon cruelty. I mean, what's the
well, like even in the show, the Pokemon show, which I used to watch all the time back in the day, there was there was people that were shitty to their Pokemon, and those were the kind of people that you didn't like in the series.
Yeah, and then there's the kid with like a red hat in there.
He was Ash Ketchum.
Not Ass Ketchum.
No, Ash.
Ash Ketchum.
Like Ash, like a guy from Evil Dead.
Yeah. Okay. He was the hero, right?
Yeah.
I imagine he was the hero.
Well, he was the protagonist. I wouldn't say he's a hero.
Oh, okay. Because he still owns and makes little creatures fight.
But his Pikachu didn't like being in the Pokeball, so his Pikachu walked around with them all the time. But the other ones, they stayed in their Pokeballs.
Yeah. It's just such a funny term.
So yeah, but that brings up the okay, so like there are going to be people that think that way. That I was just talking about.
Honestly, I never thought that way until you brought it up. Like I was like,
but there are people that probably think that way. That they're like, oh, this is virtual dog fighting.
Yeah.
Because you're capturing little creatures, but it's a game. It's not real. If there was, people don't do well. People do dog fighting. In real life, but it's frowned upon and illegal.
Yes.
So most of the time when people have pets, they're not shitty to them.
Right.
Well, I don't know if that's most of the time. I hope it's most of the time.
I hope it's most of the time.
Because, when I see an animal, and unless it's being shitty to me, I'm going to probably be nice to it. If it's a dog, I'm going to pet it on the head. Or if it's a cat, I'll scratch it behind its ear.
Yeah.
And whatever.
Animals are good.
If it's a fish, I'm going to I'm gonna watch it in the tank and not urinate into the water. Like,
yep. I think that's on the same level as the ear scratch.
Yeah. It's like not like putting urine in
not putting urine in the fishbowl that's a very, very,
or maybe drop a little like flakes.
That's above and beyond.
Yeah, it's flake or two.
Yeah.
But yeah, like there's all these political signs everywhere because it's primary time for elections. Sorry, we're dating this slightly, but you know. But I'm not going to talk about specific people or anything. No. But like, there's just a bunch of people running, and it's nothing but negativity, and it makes me just like I'm just like when I'm at the gym, I see all the political ads, and I'm like, this person's too liberal for New Hampshire.
This person's
too conservative for blah 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 blah. Yeah. So I'm just like, and I just started thinking, I'm like, is the human experiment over? Are we too far apart? Because nobody can agree on. There's nothing that I think you can find in the world that at least one person doesn't hate.
No,
there was the surprise kitty that it would, remember that video? Like, I think it was a year or two ago.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah. That was adorable. There was probably a shithead on YouTube that hated that.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I mean, the internet, if the internet is the future of humanity,
which it seems to be, which is upsetting.
I mean, because people are starting to act more and more like they act on the internet. The human experiment is pretty much done, I would say. And it's just a matter of enjoying what's left of it.
So I'm glad you guys spend your hour with us at your office, so we can talk about how everything blows. And
I just, when it comes to the political thing, I just wish that I almost wish that we had one party completely take over.
Just to see what
happens.
See if we can do something, because we can't do anything now.
Even if it was terrible, disgusting, horrible stuff, which is what I think would happen if the conservatives took power. Not to put my cards on the table there. But so even if it was that, I think in some way even that would be better than what we've got now, which is that you get a liberal or centrist president, and one half of your legislature is kind of controlled by, I don't even know, it's kind of controlled by the liberals, but then the rest of it is controlled by the conservatives. Like, they just fucking don't let shit happen just because they don't want shit to happen.
What is it?
Do they have anything they want to happen? No, they just don't want his shit to happen.
Yeah, but like what was it? Roosevelt, Teddy.
Yes.
Roosevelt. The Congress, I think. Oh, was it FDR? Was it the other? I don't even know. It was fucking one of them.
One of those guys.
You can correct us. Email us at hot@clarkwoods.com.
Yeah.
And correct me for being stupid. But it was one of the Roosevelts.
But not me. No, I don't want to hear from you.
One of them was saying that the Congress at that point was the do-nothing Congress.
Yeah.
And they passed more or I think probably hundreds of times more legislation than the Congress that we currently have.
Yeah.
So basically what we're doing by electing officials is like saying, okay, you're going to fundraise a bunch, and then you're going to take a bunch of money.
Yeah.
And then you're going to
use a bunch of corporations.
Yes. Yeah. And then you're going to be in office and basically do nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's
so. You're basically stealing a bunch of money from corporations who you have in your interest. So basically, you're going to push for whoever gave you the money.
The whole thing is just filthy, disgusting nonsense, and I just wish that there was some break from it, because there's never a break from it. It's supposed to be, every 4 years you've got a presidential election. Every 2 you've got. Well, every 2 years you've got something, right?
And so there's always campaigning, always,
and it never ends. And yes, the stakes are high, I guess, but in theory they're high, but nothing happens. So it's just this endless cycle of drama and people being pissed off at each other, when in reality we all probably could agree on some basic things, that like being nice to your fellow human beings.
No, that's stupid. That's not the American way.
It's
Capitalism, Chris.
I know.
I mean, we're both liberal. I think you might be more than me because I have a libertarian streak in me.
I'm probably a pinko commie. But yeah, it's I don't know. I just wish that the signs would all come down. It would be over.
But it's not. I mean, it's just primaries now, and then November is going to be the election.
Yeah.
And I guess I should register to vote.
Yes, you should. I guess.
Well, I'm not going to vote in the primary because I have no. I'll vote for because I mean I'm in a swing state at the moment. I mean I'm going to move back to Mass and therefore have my vote. Well, actually, if it's just a couple of Democrats, I'll vote for the one that I like more.
Right. Yeah.
I actually heard. I was listening to NPR and I heard something from a guy that was running in Massachusetts. Then I'm like, I would totally vote for that guy because he sounded exactly like the kind of candidate that I would like, and I, of course, being an informed person for the most part, I would do a little bit of further research to make sure he's not a shithead. Right. And then, would probably cast my vote for him, but I can't because I'm up here now.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, I mean, I have to start paying attention. I especially have to start paying attention to local things more because my kids are in school and are affected by some of the crap that. And
that's where local. You can actually get something done is at the local level.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, you get to a certain point and nothing. Nothing matters.
Well, maybe this whole market basket thing will be a thing that affects.
Maybe I mean
more than just. I'm hoping it affects other corporations.
It was a major news thing on the BBC. Like it was.
They're talking about it in Great Britain.
Yeah, it's just
those crazy Greeks fighting. They talked about it in Great Britain. So that's great.
It's everyone again, as we said a few weeks ago when we first started talking about it. It seems like everyone I know was generally excited to have the news that Market Basket was
back, which it is. We thought it, like we talked about it the first week, didn't we?
Yeah.
And this is fifth week, and it's finally over.
Finally over, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I'm hoping it affects the way other companies do business as well.
Yeah.
But I want it to also affect the way maybe our government is run because we as the population of the country are the stakeholders of the country, and our interests are not being met.
No.
It's the interests of the people of corporations.
Right. Oh, God, corporations.
All right, well, we're over an hour, right?
We're over an hour. It's time to punch out.
Yeah, all right, so thanks, Obama. Oh, wait, no, we should do the plugs.
We should do which plugs are those?
Well, we do our Twitter handles.
Oh, right? Which is yeah. We should. So, I am at ECC1977 on Twitter,
and I am at TuesdayIsLoser.
And you can find show notes for this episode, which is all the links to things we talked about in case you want to follow up on our brilliance at clarkwoods.com/hot/5.
That would be this episode, and you can look at our previous episodes, listen there, and you can find it on iTunes, and you can find it on what's that other app?
Overcast.
Yeah,
so if you're in iTunes, give us a review, man. Throw a few stars at us and tell us what you think. If you're in Overcast, hit that recommend button. And
the more people do that, the more people hear it, the more people listen, and then it'll be more fun, exciting stuff for us.
And send us an email. Come on, somebody out there, send it.
We made the email pretty easy to remember.
hot@clarkwoods.com. And I mean, so far all we've gotten is profanity-laced tirades from my dad. But
your dad does not listen.
No, he doesn't. but if he did, he might throw one at me right now if he's my mom was asking me about podcast apps the other day. So I think my mom.
We haven't said anything nasty about your mom.
No. There's nothing nasty to say about my mom.
Your mom is a sweetheart.
But
and has been since I've known her.
If my mom was sitting there in the living room listening to this podcast on her iPad and started laughing hysterically about something we said about my father, and he came in and he's like, "What's that all about?" And she's like, "Oh, nothing."
Well, he wouldn't listen anyways, even if... I don't think he would be that interested in what she was laughing at anyways. He's got to play Risk. All right, so have a good evening, everybody.
Yeah.
Evening?